Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much again for joining me here. Hope you're having a fantastic day. We're going to take another look here at Solana and see if it might be worthwhile buying this local dip here or this pullback to fill this not only fair value gap, but also to honor our descending trend and that potential bull flag pattern. So these are just things we're going to kind of pay attention to and look at. The key takeaway here is that it's a holiday weekend. Today specifically being 4th of July. Holidays are super notorious for selling pressure just because people get paid, they try to FOMO in and they just keep getting destroyed. So careful buying these dips, but also this one might be worthwhile considering. We'll talk about that too. So if you're new to the channel, welcome aboard, hit the like button, comment below. Thanks again for the awesome feedback here recently from my community. Dogwoof at 40%, 80% from Ethereum, and 49% for Bitcoin. Those are our trades earlier in the week here. So good profit, of course, definitely a nice solid week so far, but I'm not getting too crazy with trades. So please understand that even though we have some longs open, only 1 or 2 left available right now, we're not getting too crazy. It's important to trade less and to be smart about your trades instead of trying to just, FOMO in every single time you see an increase like this. Either way, having said that, 145 is this lower area of liquidation. So as per usual, I'm holding to my guns. The 140 to 144 is a good solid consideration for entry, based on that liquidation being swept and that potential flag pattern playing out. And there's a lot of confluence at 140 to 144. We've talked about that previously. I'll show you on the charts what I mean by that here. But for right now, liquidation delta shorts is still high. In other words, we still have more shorts in the market than longs. Therefore, just buying this dip may not be super sensible. It depends on obviously what kind of trade you are, or trader you are rather, or what kind of trade you're considering, right? Short term, long term, there's a lot of different things that happen. Me personally, when I make these analysis, they're usually good for a few days and or maybe a week or two, roughly, right? So the concept is to kind of get some ideas moving forward with slightly larger time frames. I don't focus too much on the 15 or 5-minute charts personally. I'm not really much of a day trader anymore. I used to do that, now I don't. Either way, 145, 146 is that area of control here. That's where we had the most amount of volume, implying we should see some slowing pressure here and selling, but also, that could be a new resistance at 146. I think it's less likely, honestly. Solana's looking pretty strong in the overall sense. So let's talk about that right now. You kind of recognize, first of all, with this little area of confluence, we got a fair value gap. We've got our overall point of control at 145. We're starting to see some good selling pressure here, selling pressure into this support and reinforcing that support in this range. So 145 to 150 is a close approximate of that range of support here based on volume. And we take a look at the daily time frame overall here. We're under 50 on the RSI. We've been having difficulty maintaining above it. So what that basically tells us is that we may have a little bit further correction lower. However, money flow index is going up right now, which is interesting and kind of like I wouldn't say it's a false positive, but it generally implies we're seeing more money flowing into this coin in the last 14 days than the previous 14. And it makes sense because that was a lot of selling pressure, roughly 2 weeks ago. So all that being said, at this point, we do have more confirming factors at 140 to 145. Just re-emphasizing support doesn't necessarily mean we can't go lower. Just implies that we're starting to see some slowing down here, which is good. 4-hour time frame doesn't tell us anything very positive here. It really just tells us that we're getting closer to our tentative bottom, but we're not quite there yet. So if you're going to consider, taking a trade, maybe you just set a limit order in the low 140s instead of just jumping in right now. When we look at the hourly, this is where things are kind of different here. First of all, we got some, Bitcoin has like a lot of algorithmic trading going on right now, leading into today's trading day. So standard selling type of algorithms. Having said that though, when we look at Solana, we can see here that we're underneath the cloud. Of course, there's a lot of resistance at 150. So if you're considering a long on 140, just say, for example, 150 would be a good solid profit target, right? Just below that key level resistance or a bullish backtest of that bearish backtest of the ascending trend line. All that said though, take a look at TD sequential here. We are at a 4 right now, and not like this is a guarantee, but for the most part, you will see when you hit a 9 on TD sequential, it's usually a short-term reversal. So in this case here, we see a 9 in the next couple of hours, then we'll probably be in a position where the price will bounce. So we're getting closer to our overextended state. We're also sweeping this lower area of liquidation of 144. Solid chance we see a bounce between 140 and 144, okay? Once more, I wouldn't expect a monumental bounce, especially not on the weekend. So if you do end up taking a long position with this coin, you may have to expect to hold on to it for a little while in order for it to hit its profit target. So please recognize that. Weekends are pretty notorious for just standard selling pressure here. Plus Bitcoin dominance is on its way up. Generally speaking, not a great sign for alts. All right, so just limit your exposure on altcoins for longs, at least for the moment. Buy those dips when they happen, but we're not quite fully dipped yet, if that's even a word. Anyways, thanks again so much for your time. I'll post a playout chart on our Twitter, Telegram, and Discord. Again, congrats to our community members for these awesome trades. Do you want to become a better trader? CryptoCache.tech is a site link down below. More information there. Feel free to message me directly if you have any questions. Make sure you join us over at Bitunix too, folks. Between now and July 25th is pretty much the only, the only exchange we use as in the States, of course, just because there's no KYC or VPN required. It's nice for our traders. We've been working with them for over 2 years too. They've been really good to us. So thanks again, Bitunix, for just being great options for our traders. We'll look forward to seeing you on the next one. Have a good rest of your day. Thanks so much for your time. Take care.